The film opens with popular YouTuber JaxPro, known for his thrilling task videos, presenting a game idea featuring 8 games with unique tasks. In each round, one player will be eliminated, and the final winner will receive an amazing prize never before offered by any YouTuber. The game starts with 15 top content creators selected to participate, and excitement runs high as they eagerly anticipate the challenges ahead and the chance to meet JaxPro. Moments later, JaxPro appears on a monitor, welcoming the participants and congratulating them on being selected for the game. He announces that this will be a groundbreaking game unlike anything ever made by a creator. After persistent requests, JaxPro finally reveals the prize. The winner will get his YouTube channel with 115 million subscribers. Upon hearing this, everyone is amazed, and their excitement quickly turns into a fierce determination to win the game. Jax then introduces the first game called Simon Says. Players must follow only the commands that begin with the word. If they respond to a command without Simon Says, they'll be instantly eliminated. The game seems childish, giving players confidence that they'll easily crush it. Before leaving, Jax then informs that by the end of today's round, only 8 players will advance. All players' devices are confiscated before starting the game, and they sign an agreement. The first rule states that the game will last for a week, during which players cannot contact their families. Second, players cannot leave the game unless they are eliminated. The facilitators introduce the players to their eliminator, who captivates everyone with his playful antics and bear suit. The game begins as the facilitator commands everyone to clap once and then touch their noses, and everyone follows it carefully. The facilitator then commands the players to place their hands on their heads, but this time without Simon Says, and a player instantly gets eliminated from the game. As he faces the eliminator, he unexpectedly strikes him with a hammer, leaving everyone stunned. In a brutal twist, the eliminator delivers several crushing blows that ultimately kill the player, and it turns out that anyone who is eliminated is actually being killed. Fear grips everyone, as one player attempts to evade. The sniper above shoots her down, and they are warned that leaving the game will result in immediate elimination. JaxPro reappears, asking everyone if they enjoyed playing the game. A girl angrily moves forward to confront him without Simon Says and gets eliminated. The facilitator then commands with Simon Says to stand on one leg, and everyone is forced to follow it. After a few moments, one player's balance slips, resulting in instant elimination. The next command is to hold their breath. Soon, one girl can't hold her breath any longer, causing her to vomit and get eliminated. Shortly after, one more player loses his breath and is eliminated as well. One player tries to escape, but the eliminator takes her down with a single deadly strike. JaxPro then announces the round is over, congratulating the 8 players moving to the next round, and asks to introduce themselves on camera. The introduction starts with Carrie, a music creator; Ruth, a cooking host; AJ, a gaming streamer; Squish, a motivational speaker; Walt, a finance advisor; Maxine, a comedian; Jess, a fitness influencer; Sunshine, a kids content creator. After, all the players are locked in a room, each handed their uniforms. Everyone is gripped by fear and panic, struggling to console one another. Still in shock, they can hardly believe what just happened. Carrie and Maxine try to calm Sunshine. Ruth scoffs, claiming no one is truly together and pointing out that to win, they'll have to defeat each other. Walt proposes teaming up with Squish, who arrogantly replies he only cares about winning, not friendship, but still shakes hands with him. After the game, a staff member hands Jax the recording of the day's game, which he eagerly takes to his girlfriend Luna. The two excitedly discuss their plans to upload the video after the game and escape to a secluded island for a quiet, fulfilling life together. The next day, players enter a dark room for the next round, where Jax introduces the second game, Hopscotch. The rules are simple. When the light turns red, the player must freeze and can only move forward when it changes back to blue. The slips in the bowl will determine the order of turns, and the game ends with the first elimination. The next turn is Sunshine's. She moves forward but must stop on a single box as the light turns red. As she struggles to stay balanced, Squish mimics the sound of the light changing, tricking her into stepping forward, and she loses the round. The eliminator mercilessly attacks her, with only Squish and Ruth witnessing the horrifying scene and enjoying it. Unable to see his torture and brutal beatings, Carrie yells at him to stop, but he responds by punching her before delivering a final blow to finish off Sunshine. Back in the room, Walt suggests to Carrie and Maxine that they should team up to defeat Squish, as if they don't, Squish will win against everyone by cheating. Ruth asks AJ to team up and tries to seduce him, but he politely rejects her, stating she's too old. She then tries the same trick on Squish. He arrogantly urges her not to disturb him. Undeterred, she continues to follow him, further irritating him with her relentless trash talk. Frustrated, he punches Ruth square in the face, leaving her bleeding, and warns everyone not to mess with him ever. As AJ tends to Ruth's wounds, he strikes up a friendly conversation with Carrie and Maxine, who both recognize the good in him. As they talk, staff members inform them to be prepared for the third game. This time, they are taken out for the game with their eyes blindfolded. Soon, Jax greets all the players and introduces the third round, known as the obstacle course, but this round is a bonus game because participation is optional. The rules are simple. Players must cross the obstacle course within 60 seconds, and those who succeed will earn the chance to return home alive. Those who fail get eliminated. While everyone debates whether to participate or not, Jess raises her hand and encourages others also to join, claiming it's the easiest way to get home. No one else dares, but Jess is still determined to play. The game begins as Jess enters the course, where the Eliminator is already waiting to block her with his pliers. Outside, the players realize what the real game is. Undeterred, Jess skillfully dodges the Eliminator and moves forward. Just as she's about to reach the end, the Eliminator grabs her leg. Reacting quickly, she hits his balls. Freeing herself, she finally crosses the course. Jess dances as the players cheer, amazed she did it. To everyone's shock, the sniper shoots and eliminates Jess, revealing she didn't complete the course in 60 seconds. Then, Jax congratulates the remaining 6 players for advancing in the game. That night, one facilitator catches another with poison powder and warns her against taking such a dangerous step. Meanwhile, Luna secretly received the poison from the facilitator. Revealing her face, she requests for payment. Luna agrees to settle it after the game is complete. In the room, AJ notices that the Eliminator is asleep and insists Carrie find a way to escape. However, Carrie is still concerned, so AJ goes to the Eliminator to confirm. To his shock, the Eliminator is wide awake and warns him never to attempt that again. The next day, all the players gather for the fourth game. Jax then announces the game called Musical Chairs, with an unexpected prize of $1 million. The rules are simple. When the music stops, everyone must find a seat. Whoever is eliminated first will be killed. The remaining players will continue competing for the prize, and the ultimate winner will get the money. The first round begins, and as soon as the music stops, all the players scramble for their seats. However, Ruth forcefully pushes AJ out of his chair, and he gets eliminated. The Eliminator and drags him away to kill him, causing Carrie to feel hurtful distress. Before the second round, Walt makes a deal with Squish, agreeing to intentionally lose in exchange for splitting the money in half. The round begins, music stops, and the players rush for the chairs. Walt selflessly offers his chair to Carrie and gets deliberately eliminated. As the third round begins, all the players scramble for their chairs as soon as the music stops, but Ruth pushes Maxine aside again, eliminating her just like she did with AJ, and gives a mean look at her. The fourth round begins as only 3 are left. The music stops. To her bad luck, Carrie gets eliminated by Squish. As Carrie is brought into the room, she is amazed to see AJ alive, leaving everyone wondering why he hasn't been killed yet. Then, Jax announces a twist in the game. It would be boring for the first loser to be killed. To make the game more exciting, only the player eliminated between the final 2 will face death. The final round begins as the 2 players cautiously move around the chairs. The music stops and Ruth quickly takes the seat, but Squish grabs her by the neck, locking her in a chokehold. He then unleashes a flurry of brutal punches and kicks, rendering her unconscious and winning the game by capturing the chair. Watching Squash's brutality on screen, Walt urges everyone to unite and take him down. He warns if they don't, Squash will keep cheating and eliminate all one by one. Back in the room, Walt shakes hands with Squish to remind him of their deal. Noticing how Walt and Squash communicate, AJ says he doesn't trust Walt either, suspecting he might be with Squish. At Jax's house, Ruth regains consciousness and finds Jax standing before her. He tells her that he's impressed by her clever gameplay and offers a job, in exchange for which he will let her go alive. The next day, all the players are taken to a house for the 5th game. Ruth is also present as a facilitator. Soon, Jax introduced the game, called Hide and Seek. The rules are simple. All players will have 60 seconds to find a hiding spot within the house. After that, the Eliminator will begin the search, and the first person caught will be eliminated. The game begins as the facilitator starts counting. In a panic, everyone rushes to find a perfect hiding spot, but despite their best efforts, no one finds a good one. AJ hides beside the bed, Walt squeezes into a cupboard, and Carrie ducks behind a chair. Meanwhile, Squish and Maxine are still searching. AJ asks Maxine to hide with him when Walt invites her to join him instead. Maxine reluctantly decides to go with Walt, believing it's a better spot. With just 10 seconds left, Squish still struggles to find a hiding spot and is forced to hide beside the couch, The eliminator sets out to find everyone with a knife in hand. After a few failed attempts, he spots someone hiding behind the chair. As he slowly moves closer, Squish accidentally makes a noise, drawing the eliminator's attention to him. He enters the hall, unaware that he's standing right in front of Squish. Squish bolts away in front of his eyes and quickly hides in the cupboard with Maxine and Walt. Carrie sees an opportunity and luckily she finds an unlocked window. While she is trying to escape, she is caught by a facilitator. The eliminator enters the room and begins searching. Squish forces Walt, and he suddenly pushes Maxine out of the cupboard, and she is caught by the eliminator. The eliminator is strangling Maxine, intending to give her a painful death. Carrie pleads with the facilitator to spare her life, but torn with emotion, he is unable to pull the trigger. Hearing Maxine's screams, Carrie rushes toward the room, but by the time she arrives, the eliminator finishes her off. Deeply upset and in tears when she asks, Walt lies that Squish pushed Maxine out of the cupboard. Squish coldly replies that there's no need to get emotional, as someone had to be eliminated. Back in the room, Carrie is heartbroken over Maxine's death, but her continued crying only irritates Squish. In a moment of anger, Carrie accuses him of causing innocent deaths. Unfazed, he has no regrets and only wants to win the game. At night, Jax calls Ruth to his studio. Inside, she again attempts her old trick on him, but Jax badly ignores her and assigns her a task. He opens a compartment where the staff member who was caught with poison is captured. He hands the pilers to Ruth, who then kills her with relentlessly brutal attacks. The remaining players are brought outside for the 6th game. The 3 discuss they should kill the staff and escape, but Squish says won't let them do that as he has to win the game. Soon, Jax introduces the 6th game called Tetherball. The rules are simple. The game consists of 3 rounds in which players must hit the ball toward their opponent. The player who misses the ball the most times will lose. The 2 players who lose in the first 2 rounds will compete in the 3rd round, and the one who loses will be eliminated. Everyone thinks the game will be easy, but when the ball is revealed, they realize how dangerous it will be. In the first round, AJ faces off against Walt. Walt requests a lighthearted game, but AJ counters, revealing that he knows Walt pushed Maxine. The game begins, and despite the intense pain, AJ deliberately drives the ball as Walt misses it multiple times. Fueled by a burning desire for revenge for Maxine, AJ ultimately defeats him, but his hand gets severely injured. In the second round, Squish faces off against Carrie. AJ gives a signal to Carrie and then the round begins. Squish relentlessly hits the ball without caring about the pain, but Carrie deliberately avoids the ball and loses the round. Confused by her intentional loss, Squish questions her strategy. Carrie explains that even if she had tried, she would have lost to Squish and also gotten injured. Now, she plays with Walt with well hands. The 3rd round finally begins, bursting with energy and enthusiasm. Carrie relentlessly slams the ball despite her pain. Walt desperately struggles to keep up, missing every attempt and ultimately losing the round. Walt pleads with the staff to spare him, but they shoot him without hesitation. They don't stop there. The eliminator strikes Walt's face with several brutal punches. In a moment of panic, Walt removes his mask. However, the eliminator strikes Walt's face with the massive hammer, delivering several deadly blows that send blood splattering everywhere. Here, Luna prepares a soft drink for Jax and secretly mixes poison into it before giving it to him. Alert, Jax insists that Luna taste the drink first. Despite his repeated requests, Luna refuses to take a single sip. Noticing her nervous demeanor, Jax realizes that the drink is poisoned. In a fit of desperation, he forced her to drink, but she manages to escape. As soon as she reaches the bottom of the stairs, Ruth shoots her. Jax's shocked expression makes her realize she might have made a mistake. In a fit of anger, he snatches the gun from her and shoots Luna instead, praising Ruth for her quick action. After leaving a suicide note on Luna, Ruth tries to seduce Jax again, claiming she can give him an extreme level of enjoyment than younger girls. Jax's lust ignites. He agrees and they share a kiss. In the room, Carrie and AJ discuss what might happen if they were to face each other. However, AJ hasn't thought about it yet and says it's better if that doesn't happen. The 7th game is about to begin, with all 3 players tied to chairs in a room and electrical wires attached to their foreheads. Jax then introduces the game called Hangman. The rules are simple. Blank dashes appear on the screen, representing a mysterious sentence, and each player must guess a letter within 2 seconds on their turn. Anyone who guesses incorrectly will receive an electric shock. The round continues until one of the players dies from the electric shock. If anyone correctly guesses the complete sentence at any point will be released from the chair. The round begins with Squish, but he thinks too long and receives a shock. Carrie and AJ respond quickly and guess the correct letter. In the next round, Squish answers incorrectly once again and receives another shock, while Carrie and AJ continue to respond with the correct letters. Squish continues to receive shocks over several rounds for guessing incorrectly, while Carrie and AJ consistently guess the right letters. Squish appears barely capable of enduring another shock. Then he manages to complete the entire sentence and is released from the chair just moments before death. Carrie and AJ's worst fear has come true. They are now playing against each other. AJ then suggests they play honestly. The game begins with Carrie correctly guessing a letter, but when it's AJ's turn, he intentionally remains silent and receives a shock. She urges AJ not to go through with it, but he doesn't respond this time either and Carrie guesses the correct letter. Carrie requests him to play fair, but he remains silent, receiving one shock after another. Due to a series of powerful shocks, AJ endures a painful death before the round ends. This leaves Carrie heartbroken, and AJ's death is unbearable for the staff and Squish. At evening, Jax calls Eliminator to his house and informs him that his salary has been cut and he is being fired for revealing his unscary face in front of everyone, which doesn't fit Eliminator's personality at all. Eliminator pleads with him, but Jax remains adamant. The next morning, Squish and Carrie are brought outside for the 8th game, where Jax begins by congratulating them on reaching the final before introducing the game called Catch the Flag. The rules are simple as always. When the countdown reaches 3, both players will take off running. The first player to grab and hold the flag for 3 seconds will win and get JaxPro's channel, while the loser will face death. Before leaving, he warns that the game demands both strength and intelligence. As the game begins, both players take their positions and the facilitator starts counting down. At the count of 3, they sprint toward the flag with all their might. The facilitator loads his gun and prepares for action. Carrie and Squash reach the flag at the same time, both eager to claim victory and doing their utmost to grab it. In a fierce struggle, Squish forcefully shoves Carrie to the ground, takes the flag, and holds it for 3 seconds. He begins to celebrate his victory, while Carrie is left in disbelief. Then an Eliminator signals to Carrie, and she finds the real flag is located elsewhere. Taking quick action, she sprints toward the real flag, successfully grabs it, and holds it for 3 seconds, seizing a tragic victory. Meanwhile, Squish realizes that what he is holding is just a piece of cloth. The facilitator removes her mask and reveals her face. It is none other than Ruth. She shows her middle finger to Squish, and in the meantime, the other shoots him and Ruth takes her revenge with Squish's elimination. The facilitator rushes to Carrie and knocks her unconscious. When Carrie regains consciousness, she discovers herself in an unknown house. On the table, she sees JaxPro's mask along with access to his channel as per her prize. Then a facilitator comes down and assures her that she is safe now and returns her phones. As he is leaving, Carrie recognizes his voice, then he reveals his face and name Max. He is the same guy who did not kill Carrie even after being caught. He tells Carrie that they will always be friends and leaves the house. In the last scene, Carrie is on the phone call with Max, discussing the success of her music channel. Max then shares a video showing Jax with his new girlfriend Ruth on an island, where he announces the upcoming release of the second part of the OCTOGAMES on his new channel. The film concludes with this surprising revelation.
If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and turn on all notifications to stay updated with our latest content.